Hey parents and family members, it's Mrs. Davis and it's time for another math help video. Now in the last video, I showed you some math tools that the students would be using to help them solve math problems. In this video, I'm going to take those same math tools and I'm going to model for you how your child can use these tools to help them solve addition math problems. All right, so let's get started with some vocabulary. First of all, to add simply means to combine or put together two or more quantities. The official name for those two quantities are addends. So these two addends equal this sum, total whole number. Sometimes I also refer to those two addends as partners. Now, let's take a look at the way math problems, when they're adding, might appear. They might encounter a math problem that looks like this in a horizontal position, or the same two addends might be going vertically. 6 plus 3 equals. This equal symbol they're not as familiar with, and sometimes the first time they encounter it, they think it even looks like a subtraction symbol to them. So the more we work with the vertical way that an addition equation may appear, the more familiar they will to understand that these two addends are going to combine together to get the sum, total, or whole number. All right, now let's use 6 plus 3, 3 plus 6, and let's model out using some of the tools that I have to solve this math problem. So here we go. The first thing that your child may want to use is what's already available, their digits. So we call this counting on. If they had this math problem, they would simply look at the two addends, and I always encourage them to take the biggest one no matter what its position. And I'll say, you know that what 6 is. So put it in your brain, put it in your pocket, start with 6, and then count up or count on 3 more. 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that's easy. They've got these digits available, and that's always a good, quick go-to for them. In school, also, we might use a mat that looks something like this. It's a little addition mat. It has the vertical and the horizontal. So what your child would do if they were using this to help them solve 3 plus 6 is they would take a set of counters. Now, I like to use Snappy Cubes or flip chips. So they would take a set of counters and they would build those addends, 3 and then 6. I like to use 2 different colors just so they can see those two parts even when we combine them together to get our sum. So you've got your 2 parts and then they're going to slide them together. And sometimes if they just pull them together, there's such a big amount and it can be disorganized. So when they're using their Snappy Cubes, I always have them connect those back by color, and they can see those two addends, those two parts really well with those colors. And they stack it into a whole group, and then they can count. They can use that counting on strategy and say 6, 7, 8, 9, or if they're still needing to count by ones, they can just simply count all of the counters to get their total. All right, so that is this little addition mat. I know you'll recognize this number bond as the children have been using it for some time, and it can be displayed in several positions, but it doesn't matter. This is still the whole, and these are still the 2 parts or 2 addends. So if we were going to solve 3 plus 6 using a number bond, let me grab my flip chips for this one. So I would take my flip chips, and these are going to slide. So I'll just grab and hold if I can, and I would build the two parts. And with the flip chips, we've got two colors. And if you don't have these counters available, just say the students have a remote day and they didn't bring their math tools home, you can make these at your house. The kids can draw little circles and squares and cut them out. You can grab some buttons. You can grab some coins, just whatever you have available that can become counters. So they would build and then pull together. And when they're using any counter, again, when they get to the whole number, I'm going to try to lift these up here. I like to have the students organize them, and I'm trying to tilt them, but they're in groups of 3. And that way, if they're organized in a way that the students can easily see, like this one's grouped in 3 groups of 3, they may automatically know, oh, that's 9, or they could see the 6 and the 3 and then count on. Another tool that is very similar that we explored in our last math video is the whole part mat. And I also have one that looks like this. This is really good to use if you're doing addition, because you can build your 2 parts again and pull them together. I always like to use either the flip chips that have 2 different colors or 2 different color snappy cubes. And then when they pull together in the whole section, again, you're going to either organize them into groups that are easy to read, or snap the cubes together so they can see the 2 parts and easily come up with the whole number. All right, next math tool, same math problem. 10 frame. Now the 10 frame is a really easy tool, and it's easy for them to see the sum or total when they're adding 2 parts if it's used correctly. So because this is built with 10 squares, when your child is putting in the 2 add-ins, they need to start on the left and move from left to right, filling it in, because they'll recognize the total amount very quickly if they fill it in this way. So, solving this problem again, they would build 3, and then okay. So I built this one with cubes. You've got your 3 and then 6, and they can see right away that all of the squares are filled except for 1. They know that this frame has 10 squares, and they know that if there's all but 1 filled, it's got to be 9. They may not even have to count the total using the 10 frame correctly. All right, so that's our 10 frame. All right, let's grab our last math tool, number line. So there are lots of different number lines. This is the one we're using in 1st grade. I like to grab a little cute counter at school, little frog, little bunny, little bear. Again, we're going to be solving this addition math problem. So we would start on the 0. And I always encourage the children, you don't have to count 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know where 6 is on the number line. So the first number is a big hop. 1 big hop, 2, 6. And I like to have the children put it above the number so they can see what is under it. Now we're going to count on 3 more. 1, 2, 3. And we land at our whole number. All right, be careful with this tool also, parents, because sometimes when students are using this, they will double count this. So they'll be on 6 and they will count forward like this, 1, 2, 3. So just make sure they're counting forward those 3 jumps. All right, well, that's it for our addition problem solving. So until our next math video, As always, I hope this was helpful to you. And as always, have a good one.